Well, welcome everyone. I am here with the amazing Brook Hudson. Brook is the producer of Omaha Fashion Week. Brook, thank you for joining me for a virtual Metro TV segment.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. I love this. And yeah, hanging out here in my bedroom, just having a nice girl chat. This is perfect.
This is awesome. This is awesome. So let's talk about Omaha Fashion Week because with everything going on, you and your team had to make some decisions about what was going to go on this year. So let's just first, before we get into that, just talk about the history of Omaha Fashion Week.
Sure. Yeah, so we have been, this is, let me think here, 13 years. So maybe 26 seasons, 24 seasons, because the first couple of years we only did one season a year. So we've been around for a long time. And it was started by my husband. He met a lot of aspiring fashion designers downtown, and he owned like a nightclub / art gallery down there called the Nomad Lounge.
Yeah.
And third generation fashion for him as well. So he had kind of a background in the industry and grew up around it. But he met all these fashion designers, and he was really surprised to be meeting all these aspiring designers here in Omaha. But he is an ideas guy, and he thought, well, you know what? Why don't we just bring these people together? We'll shut down a city street, we'll build a runway and see what happens. So he did that, and we ended up with, 12 designers, 20 models, and 2,000 people in the street to watch the show.
It was fabulous. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Yeah.
It was like one of the most memorable experiences of my life. I was not involved in the production at that time. I was just actually a sponsor. I was representing Creighton University. And it was so cool. It felt like we were doing something we weren't supposed to be doing.
I understand what you're talking about with that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like this is Omaha. This does not feel like we're in Omaha. We're not supposed to be able to do things like this in Omaha.
Yeah.
So that was really memorable and cool. So after that, he kind of felt like, oh wow, we've got something here that might have some legs. So we kept going. And now 13 years later, we work with hundreds of designers. We do about 60 on our through our runway program, and then 130 high school kids, a fashion camp that we do starting at age 6, which is actually going on right now. And so lots of designers that we're working with, and they're coming in from all over the country. Then we have about 10,000 attendees per season or per year, actually. And so it's gotten a lot bigger since the early days. And we now have our own venue, so we're not an outdoor show anymore. We're a controlled environment, which reduces stress for me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the outdoor, because how long have you been inside?
We've been inside since 2016, so 4 years.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
So we were open air for the first 3 or 4 years, and then we got rained on way too many times.
Yeah.
And I started building these tents after that, and I know so much about how to get water and power and luxury porta potties hooked up. If anybody needs to know any of these things, how to hook up air conditioning units.
Yeah.
I can do it all. You want to know how to get a crane in place? I can do it. So I've learned so many things.
Right. And the good news is
this season I can learn even more things.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about the outdoor piece. But yeah, let's talk about, because the spring fashion show was the end of February?
End of February, beginning of March. So COVID was just kind of getting on the scene at that point. We're like, wonder, that's weird. We didn't really think anything of it.
Yeah.
It certainly was a threat to the production at that time.
Sure.
But literally, just blew wide open 2 weeks after we had our spring season, and Kansas City Fashion Week actually had to cancel their show and refund all their ticket holders, and that their show was like a week or two after ours. So
wow. Okay. Yeah. So
we were really thankful that we snuck in there before things got really bad.
Well, in Omaha Fashion Week, I mean, again, 13 years, over 10,000 people attend each year. I mean, it is an event in Omaha, and an important event. So, once we kind of got into everything, when did you start talking? I mean, when did you start thinking about, okay, what are we going to do in August? because
Yeah.
we need to do something different?
Well, let's see. Everything shut down on March 13th.
Yeah.
And at that time, we were like, oh crap. We're, we own venues as well. So we're trying, figure
Oh my
what do
God.
we do
Yeah.
about moving all these things? And
Yeah.
we were shaping up to have like one of the best quarters ever. So we moved, I think, about 90 events so far
Wow.
to the end
I
of this
mean,
year and beginning of the year. It's crazy. But yeah, so that happened, and I was like, well, I'm sure this whole thing will blow over by the time we have to open ticket sales on May 1st. Like, we'll be totally fine. So we went ahead and opened design locations and just moving along, and got to mid-April, and it's like, oh God, I don't think it's going to happen.
yeah.
So anyway, fast forward to mid-May, I was like, okay, the designer applications have come in. We're not seeing a material difference in the level of demand from designers. So the need for designers to have a show is still there. That was a huge indicator for me.
Hmm.
If demand had been weak, I would have said, let's just cancel everything. But because the designers showed up and they want to do this, I'm like, all right, so I'm going to have to sharpen my pencil and figure out how to make something happen. And I gave myself a deadline that if we don't have an understanding of how or when the state is going to open up by June 15th, then I'm going to have to cancel Fashion Week, because there's no way I could get it
Yeah.
all together in that amount of time. Anyway, about June 15th, the governor finally makes an announcement and starting to roll out plans for how the state's going to reopen. And at that point, we had come out with this idea of doing a hybrid event. So that means we're going to have a live event where people can actually be there in person, but we're also going to be live streaming it for an online audience. And so that way we're kind of hedging our bets.
Sure.
So no matter which day the governor went in terms of how the state was going to reopen, we were covered. And the great thing about that is, since cases are starting to spike and the news isn't good on COVID, if for some reason the state of Nebraska has to close down, or we feel there's too great of a risk to have a live event, we can still do a great production and just convert all of
Yeah.
our live event ticket to digital. And that way it's kind of an insurance policy for us to make
Sure.
sure we can still actually event.
Yeah.
So those were some tough decisions. It costs a heck of a lot more to do a live stream to the level that we're going to do it at.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth it to have the assurance that it's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
interesting how you really, you have to look at these additional options, like you said, to put things in place, because once you made the
And
decision to
that's
move
have to
forward,
go on.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And when
um,
you make a decision to move forward, you've got to have, in this environment, you have to have multiple plans.
yeah, yeah,
And you've got to be willing to figure out a new way of gathering people.
yes,
I fundamentally believe people are designed to be together, right? I mean, we are made, that's in our DNA, to be together. And so it's up to us as event producers to find new and safe ways of making that happen.
yeah,
And so for us, it was adding this live stream layer to the production, but it is also limiting the number of people we'll allow in the venue. So
yeah,
rather than having 1,000 people, we're going to limit it to 400. And we're putting some things in place to help prevent the crowd from congregating around like a buffet, for example, or congregating around the
sure,
bar. So we're going to be delivering food and drink in different ways, and there's going to be a lot of changes. It's going to be a very different experience, but
uh,
I think it's going to be fun and interesting, and I think the audience enjoy the change.
well, let's get down to some specifics about when is it? What are the dates?
Yeah.
We're still going
So
for like a week, like 5 days, 5 to 6 days.
it was originally scheduled for 6 days,
Okay,
but we have compressed the week into 3 days. So it's going to
okay,
be August 27th to the 29th. So that is it's a safety issue. It's an economic issue. So that's how we're doing it. But the good news is it'll still be the same amount of content from designers, just squeezed into fewer days. So they're going to be big shows. We're going to have 10, 12, 13 designers each night, which normally we'd have like 7 or 8.
okay,
So this is every night's going to feel kind of like a finale with the amount of content there is. So the 27th and 28th are our kind of preliminary showcases. So you'll get to see on both nights, you'll see emerging and featured designers. And
Okay.
then on Saturday night, the 29th, will be our finale. So we'll choose the top 5 from each group to show on the finale, and they'll be competing for prize packages as always.
Okay. So where can people get tickets? And are you buying tickets to the physical event, or are you also buying tickets to the live stream event? How is that working? How does that work?
Yeah. So we are doing both. So
Okay.
we're selling tickets to the physical event and to the live stream.
Okay.
We're doing those at omahafashionweek.com/tickets. And there's on our ticketing portal, there's 6 different options there. So you just need to pay attention when you're buying your tickets. Am I buying it for the live event or the
Yeah.
digital event? So look for those keywords, and that'll tell you which direction to go. The good thing about it with the digital, it's all going to be deployed through TicketLeap. So if you
Okay.
buy access to that, you're not going to have other people out there who haven't bought access who will be able to view that content. It's
Sure.
exclusively bought.
Okay.
And the great thing is those tickets are $40, and we're encouraging, we know people are going to get together in groups and watch. So we're encouraging watch parties. And
Yeah,
if I can work it out, I would actually like to live stream somebody's watch party into our live stream. So we'll see if I can
that would be
make that.
awesome. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want people to have fun with it. This is just new. I mean, I still obviously would really, really want people to come to the show, and the live tickets have gone well, so I'm not worried about that. I'm pretty sure we'll sell out there. But I also really hope people will embrace the digital, because I think that's the way of the future. This
Yeah.
is, it's not only safety, but it's kind of an experiment, and us kind of putting a stake in the ground and saying this is a direction that we think is going to grow. And we're seeing that across the fashion industry, that digital delivery of events is a thing that's going to become more and more creative and successful.
Yeah. Well, we've got about a minute left. So let's just
Mhm.
talk, how else can people support Omaha Fashion Week? You've got the ticket sales piece, but
Yeah. So ticket sales are great. We are definitely in the market for sponsorship, and that is a very hard sell right now. Corporate is, there's been moratoriums on spending across the board because of the economic uncertainty. But if there's anybody out there who wants to sponsor, I would gladly accept a check. We do have a lot of really interesting opportunities in the digital broadcast, with even doing like 30-second commercial spots, which are
sure.
much lower cost than a traditional Fashion Week sponsorship. So even something like that will help us go a long way towards defraying the additional cost of the live stream. So that's another way. Also, following us on social media and sharing our content. We're going to be putting out a lot more content. This whole being home thing has
Yeah.
forced us to think differently about how we connect to the audience. And so we're going to be producing a lot more behind the scenes content and interviews and things like that leading up to shows that people can watch, and then also encourage them to share.
Absolutely. Well, again, people go to omahafashionweek.com. There's lots of information there. You can buy tickets there, reach out to you for sponsorships. And again, like you said, social media is a great place to stay in touch with what's happening, because you have great information, feature the designers and all that good stuff.
There's so much to be proud of what our designers are doing. So even just sharing costs nothing to share, and it makes Omaha proud. So we're excited about what our designers are doing.
Yeah. Well, Brooke, it's so good to talk to you, and it's so good to see you. It's been a while since we've actually seen each other. But the virtual metroTV, this has been an awesome way to just keep things going on our end. So, Brooke,
I love it. It's awesome. I put pants on for the occasion, so there's that.
I did too. Well, we don't have to, but I did. Yeah. All right. So thank you. I will check in with you later. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Bye.